Next on Worcester News tonight, a federal judge stops the release of blueprints on how to make 3D printed guns. Plus, a gold dust scam. Suspects on the loose after selling more than $300,000 of counterfeit gold. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. A gold transaction in Westborough doesn't go as planned. The police department is looking to identify two suspects who they say sold fake gold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our Chandler Walsh is live now with the story. Chandler?
Olivia, the deal may have seemed too good to be true, and it was. Now the victims are facing a $306,000 loss. Victims in Westborough discover the 15 kilograms of gold dust they bought is fake.
As you can see, it's all copper and zinc.
The three men met two suspects who went by the names of Jesse O'Brien and Frank at the Extended Stay America on Computer Drive in Westborough.
Neither party was staying at the hotel. They rented a little conference room with cash for a short period of time.
Video from the victims shows them testing the dust before buying it last month, the dust reading 93% gold. The men paid $26,000 in cash and transferred $280,000 to a bank account. The suspects gave the men a safe with the dust inside and said they would give a combination when the money came through.
At that point, they were given a combination to the safe, which didn't open the safe. So then they called the locksmith.
Once the safe was opened, the dust read 0% gold.
At some point, the suspects switched the real gold with a bag of fake gold.
Rebecca Antillo was staying at the hotel the day of the transaction. She says she saw one of the suspects passing by in the hallway and is shocked by what happened.
He didn't seem suspicious or anything. He just seemed like, another normal guest.
Westborough police are looking to identify the suspects and say the case is an unusual one.
This is unique, that's for sure.
Whether they're con artists or whatever, they're very good at, obviously, what they did to scheme somebody into paying that much money.
Westborough police are now working with Rhode Island State Police, who had a similar scam years ago and believe it could be the same suspects. The FBI is also most likely getting involved. Anyone who recognizes the suspects is asked to call the Westborough Police Detective Division. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A male victim is brought to the hospital Tuesday night. Police say he was struck by a vehicle on Grafton Street. The crash happened around 9:30. Worcester police say he suffered serious injuries but is expected to be okay. It appears the driver did not see the victim who was in the roadway. The driver did stay on scene. The crash remains under investigation. Police also investigating a crash between a bicyclist and vehicle at the corner of Southbridge and Madison Street in Worcester. They say the bicyclist suffered from a shoulder and possible head injury. Police say it appears the car had a green light and the bicyclist had a red light but failed to stop. The crash is under investigation. A federal judge is putting a temporary stop on the release of 3D printing blueprints, which could let people print out working guns. Attorney General Healey and 7 others sued to have the blueprints stopped. Our Rosalind Flaherty joins us now to explain. Rosalind?
Olivia, the blueprints were set to hit the internet today, but the lawsuit stopped it. Attorney General Healey says she's pleased, but there is still work to do. A federal judge issues a temporary restraining order to stop the release of blueprints to make untraceable and undetectable 3D printed plastic guns.
Really pleased with last night's win. We went to court to make sure that we're doing everything we can to stop the availability of these 3D plastic guns.
President Donald Trump's administration moved earlier this month to allow a Texas company to post the blueprints online. Massachusetts Attorney General Healey joined 7 others in a lawsuit Monday to block the federal government's settlement with the company.
We've also called on Congress to act. We need to make sure that these guns are kept out of the hands of criminals and terrorists. And I think most people have been really outraged and surprised to learn that there is this technology.
President Donald Trump tweeting he's looking into the plastic guns being sold to the public and already spoke to the NRA saying, quote, "It doesn't seem to make much sense." Healey says the plastic weapons could go undetected through security checkpoints.
You'd end up with a situation that people who are prohibited under state laws from owning guns, felons, criminals, terrorists, people with serious mental health issues would have the ability to print these guns.
Technocopia in Worcester has 3D printers. Members can use the machines to create things like toys, games, and home improvement tools. They say people must be buzzed in to help keep track of who is using their equipment.
There's the camera over there, so like I see everyone that comes in here like before they physically can come in. They have to get through 2 sets of locks. We have only one night of the week where you can have it's called our open hack and craft night. So we have people come in and they can see how the stuff is used, but they can't use it themselves because they're not trained.
Although Healey says she's pleased with the temporary ruling, they have to stay on the fight to make the order permanent. Now, Healey will be back in court August 10th for the judge to hear more arguments. Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Attorney General Maura Healey also visiting Girls Inc. in Worcester Wednesday. Girls Inc. is one of 90 organizations across the state receiving grant funding from the AG's Office for Healthy Summer Youth Jobs. Girls Inc. will use the $5,000 in grants to hire camp counselors and lifeguards for the organization's 3 summer camps. They say the funding makes it possible for 300 girls to enjoy camp.
Excelling in academics and both. We try to explain on paper and through pictures what we do on a daily basis and the impact we're having on lives, but there is nothing like seeing it firsthand. And for our girls to understand that the funding that comes from the Attorney General's office and other grants is so important and gives them an opportunity to say thank you and give back.
And Healey's office is awarding more than $300,000 across Massachusetts. A father and his 9-month-old daughter are threatened by 3 Central Massachusetts men who are now charged with armed robbery. The victim told police he and his daughter were sitting in his car in the Big Y parking lot in Southbridge around 7:30 Friday night when another car with 3 men pulled up alongside him. According to the victim, one of the men pointed a handgun at him and demanded money, while another punched him in the face several times. Trent Nicolopoulos, Philip Smith, and Christopher Say are all facing multiple charges, including armed robbery and a joint venture. The Massachusetts Senate passing a bill Tuesday night requiring college campuses to conduct surveys on sexual assault and what they are doing to combat it. It's an issue Senator Michael Moore has spent time working on. Our Brittany Schaefer spoke with him today and joins us now with more on the bill. Brittany?
Olivia, according to the Washington Post, 1 in 5 women have been sexually assaulted. It's why Senator Michael Moore says this bill is an easy decision.
Talk about no-brainers. To me, this is a no-brainer.
The Massachusetts Senate passes a bill strengthening campus sexual assault policies Tuesday night. Part of the bill would require sexual misconduct climate surveys at all state colleges.
The survey is basically going to get real data that we can assess from the students. They could assess what they thought were good or bad about the services that were provided to them.
The bill would also include mandatory training related to sexual assault, domestic abuse, and stalking for students and staff at college campuses. Moore says the entire bill is a good first step to change.
These are our kids. These are family members. No student should have to go off, whether it's a male or female, should have to go off to a college, to this new setting or environment and have to worry or feel they should have to worry about being raped, sexually assaulted, or anything in relation to that.
Pathways for Change in Worcester worked with Senator Moore to amend the bill. The nonprofit helps survivors of sexual violence and says these surveys and training are needed.
I think that every campus has an issue with sexual violence across the country. It's really, really important that good legislation is passed, like this one that just passed, that supports survivors and gives them a voice anonymously.
Moore says he expects the bill should ultimately pass by the end of the year.
Schools, the legislature, the governor, everyone should be on board with trying to address this issue. Because we all have a family member at some point that is going to be, whether it's going to the school as a student, visiting the school, have some sort of interaction. Why wouldn't we want to make sure that we're providing them these services?
And Senator Harriet Chandler releasing a statement to Worcester News tonight saying this legislation will help ensure that students feel safe on campus. I was happy to vote in support of this bill. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
An Auburn Air Force and Navy veteran honored by Congressman Jim McGovern Tuesday. As our Anna Batari tells us, he received multiple U.S. military medals for his 22 years of service.
Auburn veteran Michael Lazanis is being honored for his service to the country.
I really appreciate it.
Congressman Jim McGovern presented him with multiple medals, including the National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, an Air Force Longevity Service Award ribbon with 3 Bronze Stars.
I get to do a lot of interesting things in this job, but nothing gives me greater satisfaction than to say thank you to our veterans.
Lazanis served 4 years in the Navy and almost 18 in the Air Force.
I went from flight line to combat to helicopter work to water rescues to a little bit of everything.
Lazanis says the Vietnam medals have significant meaning.
It was a time in history where we were not welcomed back to the United States, and I always revert back to Vietnam. We were over there fighting for the rights of everybody at home. The true heroes are those that never came home, and I reflect on that all the time.
Lazanis says for those interested in joining the service, to look at it as an opportunity and a challenge.
Opportunity to learn something, to better yourself in life later on. A challenge to do better, to do something, to learn respect.
And that was our Anna Batari reporting. Lazanis goes on to say he is grateful to see the respect men and women who serve now receive upon returning home.